needing self-storage for stuff you own has become a pretty normal thing here in America. And statistics I recently read says 1 in 10 households rent a self-storage unit other than at their home. And I just so happen to be one of those. I currently pay $94 a month to store my work tools, stuff for DIY projects, and all the renovation things you've seen me do. And it's not even here at home. Now that might not sound like much, but over a year, that's $1,100+ a year. That adds up really fast over a lifetime. So while we're taking a break from Betty's renovation to give her some time to save up for the next round of DIY projects at her home, I'm taking the time to get one of the projects I've needed done at my house for a long time out of the way. I plan to build myself a 4x8 lean-to shed, which is honestly going to be nothing more than a very large toolbox for totes and tools that I own. I would love to build something larger, or take the tin shed that belongs to the park and just get rid of it and make a larger shed all in all, but I have to live by the park rules, and what he did was approved that I could have up to a 4x8 shed sitting right over here. So the plan is to take all of this materials you see here and magically turn it into a shed somehow. So over the next week to week and a half, my project is nothing but getting this shed done with all of my free time. So all the lumber and material you see right here just cost me $715.98. So if I can build this on a tight enough budget in no time at all, instead of using a self-storage rental, this shed will pay for itself in less than a year, and then the rest of that money comes back into my household. The plan is to build the shed right here. It's only going to come out 4 feet. It's only going to be 8 feet wide. 2 double doors. Be able just to step in, and it's going to be shelves, shelves, and shelves loaded with all of my work tools and things I need for DIY projects. So I guess the first steps should be to clear this out, get rid of any of this trash and things I don't want anymore, mow the ground down as tight as I can, and then go ahead and build the shed base with the flooring on it. So we'll get started by cleaning up the crap and then go from that point. So now that we've got the area cleaned up that we're going to go ahead and put the shed, for the most part, we can lay out a few things. In the meantime, we need to get started with the build. The plan is we're going to go ahead and use these free plans we got off of Construct 101. You can get these plans at that website, www.construct101.com. And we're going to follow the instructions mostly. There's going to be a couple things we're going to change, like a couple of things that have to do with the height and just maybe an inch on the width because of how I want the overhang to happen. So we're going to get started cutting the pressure treated lumber down for the base first, and we'll go from that point. So obviously the first steps for this is going to be to build the shed base, because everything when you're building a shed starts from the bottom up. It's technically not going to touch the ground because we're going to be putting it on these camo blocks. They're pretty cool. It's kind of a newer product that replaces the old pier blocks. Doesn't weigh nothing, easier to set up. And so the 2x framing is going to sit through here. It'll sit up about 2 inches off the ground, making the grand total about 6.5 inches, 5.5 inches off the ground. So I don't have a big step to step into the shed when I need to. Kind of an average step. But that'll be after we've gotten this all built and set up. So for now, we're going to work on cutting down all of the pressure treated lumber. He's going to fiddle faddle around with things.
Get tired of getting sawdust in my face because this bag isn't right.
And then once we've gotten this all cut down, we'll go ahead and frame up the main portion of the base, and then we'll attach the flooring to it. So we're now at the point where we have to frame all this up together on the shed base. I've chosen to go ahead and frame my shed base up with 3-inch screws. And then when we do the wall framing, we'll be doing a lot more nailing there. But I just find the screws are going to be stronger and hold it together. I've got some nice high quality exterior grade screws for this. So right now my dad is over there doing a layout. We're going to be doing a layout at 16 on center. So we're going to have a floor joist every 16 inches. So we'll go ahead and get started on that now. So I like to do the ends first, and then I can hopefully just wedge these pieces in there, wiggle them around as I need, and hopefully it kind of holds everything together. First thing we'll do the ends, kind of double check that we're square. Now it's a shed, so we don't have to be dead on, but we do need to be close. Now for anybody who's wondering why we're doing this here and not over there, we're going to paint this. And I'm going to have to paint it before I put it in its final resting place. It's going to be a little bit difficult, and I'm going to have to figure that out as I go along, but I'm sure I'll come up with some kind of plan to deal with building it out here, get it all painted and pretty, and then move it into place. Maybe we'll just do the back wall and stuff first and move it into place while it's still lighter. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Sure doesn't seem like a lot when you're looking at it like this, huh? Oh wait, mine are turned the wrong way. So let's go this way because it's going to be lined up right there. And more towards the building because we don't want to push it any farther than we have to once it's loaded. Right?
Probably not.
So, more towards the building.
There's 4.
So that's probably
How much room
a
you
little
want?
more your way and my way. Just kind of gets it close without getting too weird. So here we've got the framed portion of the shed base sitting here. It's not where it's going to actually sit. It's going over here. But this is where we need it to build it and paint it. At least build half of it. So we didn't worry about squaring it up because we've got 2 factory square edges on the flooring. And we're going to just square these 2 edges with it, and then those should fall into place as long as we haven't completely screwed up our measurements. Just using some 1.5-inch exterior grade screws. Okay, a little ratchet strap work, ton of screws. It's now square with the base on it. Now we can start framing up some walls. Just look at that. Now granted, right here it's not level, but that is solid. Get this all set up inside. This should really be good and sturdy for my tools and stuff. I'm really excited. And you know, if my doors were here and I stepped in, and I had totes here, and totes here, and maybe shelves along the back with tools, yeah, everything should store nicely. I'm not going to have much more than a 2-foot by 4-foot little section just to step in, but honestly, this is just, it's literally going to be a very large toolbox. So now we're going to start turning this pile into usable lumber. that we can frame up into the walls. Which one's next?
The one's sticking out there.
They're both sticking out.
Yeah, they're both ready.
Okay. Now we gotta frame this. Yay.
Nailed.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna frame up the wall. We got all our wood cut. We're gonna do double stud corners and 16-inch on center. We're just gonna use the good old-fashioned nailer. We're gonna do it that way. Let's do it.
Going anywhere real easy.
And with the first wall up, we're now gonna go eat some dinner. Well, we filled our stomachs and ate dinner. The A-free still has 78% juice. We think we could probably get at least 2 more walls done on that real quick. So we're gonna work on the side walls next. See if we can at least get those up tonight. When the sun's going down and it feels nice and cool out. Okay, now that we've got the sidewalls cut and prepared, we'll just frame them up real quick. Fortunately, they're big enough to fit on this, they're small enough to fit on this big table. Okay, for now, we'll just lean this thing up over here, I guess. Okay, so we've got the back wall up. Temporary holding posts on each side, just kind of holding it up there so we know it doesn't fall down. Now we'll work on getting the end walls attached to the floor and to the back. So this design's kind of a simpler one. The side walls and the front are to be shorter because it's a lean-to. And when you put your rafters up, they're going to go from there up to here with a bird's mouth cut, and they'll act as the ends. Kind of a super, super simple shed design. Not too fancy, not having to frame in a bunch of rafters all super crazy like. No, just one side at a time. One side at a time.
Yeah, I got this side.
The side you're working on first. So it's about 20 minutes to 8. Back wall's up, sides are done. The front's gonna take a little more intricate build. So we're gonna go ahead and just set this up to support anything in case of any, winds or anything. I don't expect any tonight, but you never know. And then resume tomorrow morning when it's nice and cool.
After church.
After church. Maybe before. We will see. Okay, so that'll probably do for tonight. We're only in it about 3.5-ish hours so far. Tomorrow we'll build the front wall, maybe. We'll see. And then move it back. Or maybe we'll put the back wall on. I don't know. We'll see. We'll resume.
Closer, then put the back wall.
We'll resume tomorrow. All right, it's the next day, the next morning. We've all had some rest, and it's time to get the rest of the framing done and then hopefully start the siding. Today it's going to be a little bit warmer. It's still going to be windy, a little bit breezy. But we've got my old awning up, kind of give us a little more shade. It looks like he's preparing for me to start cutting the studs down, so I better just get to work. I don't know if any of you have ever done layout before, but we'll let this old master show you how easy it is. They make these little red lines on here. If you're doing 16, every 16 inches is red, 16, 32, 48, etc. So basically you want the center of the stud center of each one of these if you're doing a standard layout. Now our first ones are going to be at the ends, of course, then 16, and then we're stopping at 24 because we're going to have a 48-inch door, basically a French door setup. So we'll stop at 24 and we'll just go to the inside of it instead. But layout on studded walls is so much easier now than it used to be, since they make tape measures with fancy little red things on it and stuff. Wouldn't you agree?
Red things?
Red things, yeah. All right, it's time to attach the last wall. So we'll get that set into place. There'll be tons of parts to attach that to. Go ahead, I'll get it up there. Hold on. We'll do it after. Let's finish this. You got it?
I got it.
So the next steps, we've got the wall mostly up. I need to finish attaching everything, but we need to do a header up here. It's going to be a small header because it's really a super small building. It's barely 48 inches of roof area up here. So I'm going to measure, get my number, measure it twice. We'll go ahead and we'll cut a 2x4 down, sandwich a 1/2 inch piece of OSB in between it, smack it up here, suck it in from the top. That'll give us a header. Then we'll go ahead and throw up 2 jack studs on this. I'm not sure if I'm going to cut the bottom plate out on this. I kind of like it for stability reasons, and I think I might like it for the door too, but that's something I can always take out later if I decided I didn't want it. Other than running screws through the bottom plate and through the floor and into the bottom floor joists, the way we're tying these in is along here. And I opted for screws instead of nails for this part. Just because if I ever wanted to take this apart to move it, wouldn't take me too much effort. After I've gotten the roof off, getting the walls off in one piece will be a lot simpler by being able to remove screws. And I can put it on a flatbed trailer and move it to a new property if I got lucky, or just a different place if I got a different shed or something. And of course, like I says, I want to use a long enough screw to tie this bottom plate through the flooring and into the floor joists. There we go. Feels pretty solid in here. All right, now we'll get started on the header and the jack studs and just try to keep moving forward now.
How well's it gonna fit?
Should be pretty darn close. Might one of these up there.
You don't need to do anything.
I'm not walking under there until somebody's holding that or it's out of the way. That is a headache waiting to happen. Bottom up or top down, it don't matter.
5'10" and 9/16.
Check both sides just to make sure.
Five 5'10" and 9/16.
So they're identical.
Identical.
Man, we're good. We built it identical.
For once.
Like, it could not be a more perfect measurement. So now we got to do what I'm calling one of the hardest parts of this build, because everybody messes these up, including myself, and that is
This is what
making our own rafters. So we're going to follow the instructions. We may have to modify it after a certain point. Mind holding that end. Smells good. Pretty. Smells good though.
Yeah, it's got a nice little. That's a lot of sap still in that one.
Just want to check it here and there. See how bad we got this wrong or not. Oh yeah, that's. You know what? My first measurement would have been better. So I happen to get it pretty flush right here on this end, not too bad. My angle up here is definitely off. So we'll just modify one and then I think we'll have it. And we'll just match all the rest up.
Put that one in somewhere.
That'll go in the middle-ish. Maybe the second one in. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Alright, we made it. We got all the little birds' mouths cut out. It lines up decent enough. This isn't like Betty's Tajma Spa, so it's good enough for me. Now I gotta get all these attached. And again, I kind of wish I'd had hurricane ties, but I think I have a couple of ideas on how to make this work. Might do a combo of nails and screws, but we'll get started. So we're going to run a screw in through this point, then a screw down here, then a screw up through the bottom toenail, and all the others I can toenail screws this way, except for this one. I've got to kind of figure out how I want to do one last screw. Probably just try to toenail it at an angle. One thing, this is going to have an advantage over the others, the end ones. The end rafters will attach to the sheeting, so it will have a slight advantage. So maybe one or two less screws in here won't kill everything. For 2 screws, it's already pretty firm. That's pretty solid. Yeah, I like that. 1 down, 6 to go. Rafters are up. It's time to go ahead and start getting some sheeting up here as the next step. We won't be roofing it right away, but we're gonna get the sheeting on because we kind of need it. So we've already pre-cut our smaller sheet, which is gonna go at the bottom, marking our marks at 5.5, so we know it'll hang over 1/2 inch down here. Up we go. And then our edges, we're gonna do the same, 1/2 inch. So I'm using 2 3/8 ring shank nails. It should not be. So now we get to do the hard one. This is going to be tons of fun getting the sheet up, but at least we have this to stop it from sliding down. Can your end touch?
I can throw it up there maybe.
Okay, if you can get your end to touch, I can do the rest. You just had to get up there. We'll do the bottom corners. Bottom.
Grab a hold.
Sheeting's on, a couple of blowouts, a couple of things we're going to cut off. Just because we don't want to try and remove the nails or anything. It's just going to be easy to cut them off and leave them where they are. Now, we have something to butt the siding up against, especially on the back side when we get started back there. So, next step, siding. All right, it's time to get our sheets up. We've got them cut. We're going to bring the first one back, put it here, push it up against there. That's probably going to be the hardest part, is keeping it pushed up. Attach it. Other one will lap over. We're going to start by attaching with some ring shank nails. The edges, I was thinking about using screws, but we'll figure that out. More too short, huh? Gotta go up. Give me full up force. That it?
It's down on the ground, yeah.
Let off gently. Oh, too much. Oh, back of here. Right there. All right, that should be it. So this T111 was almost $10 cheaper, but I swear it weighs 10 pounds more for what it is. I I think I'm gonna have to paint it twice just to make it worth it. All right, need to actually get rid of that to make it slide in here, right? There we go. No wiggle wiggle now, huh? Definitely gonna have to trim things.
Especially this way.
Definitely gonna have to trim things.
Yeah, you look at it from here and there's lots of daylight through there.
I was planning to trim it anyway, up there and on corners. Up and corners. And then the door.
Yeah.
Well, it's 6 o'clock on a Sunday. So it's 5 hours today, and we did about 4 hours yesterday, so we're in at about 9 hours. Not pushing ourselves, but getting it done. That's where we're sitting so far. So tomorrow, I might be pouring concrete for where we're gonna have this sit. Getting these attached on the sides. Letting Stephanie pick paint because I told her I would just do it in green and then white trim, and she said, ooh, no. So we'll see. And then get it put in place after we've gotten the back painted for sure with the back trim and then the sides. Now concrete's gonna add a little extra cost, but at the very end, we'll go over the grand total of time and what it costs to do everything to make the smallest shed or largest toolbox for my house.